dear lady that was at the door. She said, "Oh, we're so glad to have you here. But however, there's a better church that you might check out just up the street."
Oh my goodness.
And this is true. I can't make it up. It's true.
Thank you for joining us on Silently Bleeding Hope for the Pastor's Wife. Today's conversation is for pastors' wives and ministry wives who've ever felt the weight of expectations. Sometimes those expectations are spoken, sometimes they're simply assumed. My guest today is Sherry Davis, and she shares openly about a season when she and her husband were asked to revitalize a small church and how that calling stretched her faith, her identity, and her understanding of what obedience to God truly looks like. My hope is that her story brings clarity, freedom, and encouragement to those that are walking this similar road. Welcome, Sherry. Sherry, can you take us back to that season? How old were you, and what was happening in your life when you and your husband were asked to revitalize this church?
Thanks, Jan, for this wonderful opportunity to share. I had to take a trip down memory lane to address this first question. We had transitioned from many years in South Africa doing missions work. We're serving in South Africa for 12 years, and we had transitioned to live in Springfield for my husband to finish his master's degree. And so it was towards the end of his studies that we were asking God was the next steps for our ministry and where would he have us to go. And we were open to whatever he asked us to do. So as we were praying and as we were seeking God, our district proposed the idea that we would consider a revitalization work in a rural town with a church that was about to close their doors and just going through so much distress, numerically, financially, many years of history with the church being present in the town, but they were just so distressed and needing leadership. They were lacking leadership for so many months. And so we just talked amongst ourselves, my husband and I, and we just said, let's just travel this path and see where God would lead us. And it was a busy time. I was about 42 years old, raising two young sons, and just trying to make ends meet with our own financial situation and just how it is with studying and just trying to work multiple jobs and make sure the kids are thriving as well. And we considered what God would have us to do. We said yes to an initial invitation to just meet the church people, the folks there, our very first time entering the doors. Nobody knew us. Nobody knew what our purpose was for at that day. The dear lady that was at the door, she said, "Oh, we're so glad to have you here. But however, there's a better church that you might check out just up the street."
Oh my
And this is true. I can't make it up. It's true.
goodness.
Just like, okay, wow. Well, we'll just love to be here. To make a long story short, there were a little bit of red faces after and realized who we were. Nothing more was mentioned about our greeting. When you are faced with that first greeting, you wonder, okay, Lord, is this a yes or is this a pass? And so, but we gave it a chance. We gave that day a chance. Tried to relax, go into that day with open minds and open hearts. And I think that was the best decision that we could have made. We could have turned around and ran away immediately, but we did enter the church.
And obviously, you ended up going there.
We did. The church was financially struggling. They weren't able to provide any compensation for us being there. So the district provided a small stipend for us to be there, gave us a couple of years to grow the church and to do what we could till the church was able to give us a compensation package. And so those times were tough. We were both working multiple jobs. We were more than bivocational. We were multiple vocation. Uh,
Quad vocational.
exactly. I mean, it was a lot.
So, Sherry, what did you think you were walking into, and how did that compare with the reality of it?
Well, Jan, I have to be honest, I didn't know exactly what we were walking into. I knew it was a rural church, and I knew that they were struggling for quite some time with lack of leadership. The reality of it was that there were a wonderful group of people. To be honest, I didn't know exactly what I was walking into at the time. I did know a couple things. I did know it was a rural church and that it was struggling financially and numerically. But the reality was that we faced a beautiful group of people and we just fell in love with them. And it was just a time of just building trust, uh, giving love to people, and also allowing ourselves to receive love from the congregation. And so our family found a home. It wasn't a quick transition. It took time. It was a process.
So, what were the expectations placed upon you, and how did you handle it?
The expectations I felt were, I think the people that were there, they knew that there were so many areas of ministry that needed headed up. Ladies leader, children's teachers, nursery workers, I mean, greeters, everything. It was just like the need was so great that I felt some expectations that were expressed to me, and also some pressure that I looked around and I saw the need was so great. I think that at first it was a bit overwhelming because I thought, well, Lord, I know that you have a place for me in this church and that I can work and within my giftings. And so I felt that it was better that I just step back and take a breath and have some conversations and look at what the reality was and where my giftings were. And that's what I did.
So, were there missteps you learned from that time that you would do differently now?
I don't know if it was a misstep, but I allowed myself to not open up as much to the older ladies that were present in the church. I think I felt intimidated by the age gap, and I thought, well, Lord, what could I possibly speak into their lives, and how could I fit in the realm of where they were? And the median age was like 75, 80 years old. And I was thinking, Lord, where can we fit together harmoniously and see the value in each other? And I feel like that if I knew myself now back then, I would have definitely opened myself up to deeper relationships and that I could have hopefully found value in their stage of life as well as they could have found value in mine.
Thank you for sharing that. So, Sherry, what shifted in the congregation, or maybe in you and your husband, that began to bring fruitfulness, bring growth to the church?
I think the biggest shift that happened within the church and when growth really started happening is when we really did a huge push towards being community minded. Beforehand was very us four and kind of no more kind of a situation. It was a circling of wagons and kind of a fear of branching out and kind of opening ourselves up to the community. And when we did that, I feel like that the challenge was accepted. Maybe not with both hands, but with encouragement and with a lot of prayer and of a lot of discovering opportunities that were right there in our community. It revived, I think, something that lay dormant in most of the congregants' hearts. Like, hey, it doesn't matter what age I am. It doesn't matter if I'm feeling strong in my body or my mind. We can do something. And we began to do events through the Chamber of Commerce and through the school systems and just whatever we offered ourselves. We said yes to our community. Not just Dan and I, but our whole congregation said yes. To our community, and God just began to open doors through the school system and through the community to where we found a place and we
Mm.
found value. the community valued us as much as we valued them. That was the absolute turning point for us as a community church. So,
Wow,
yeah.
that's beautiful. So, Sherry, looking back, what role did patience and consistency play in this?
I would say that patience was key. Consistency was just one day at a time, one day at a time, and just being, you know, not only being patient with the people we were pastoring, but patient with ourselves. It was invaluable, really. Just plodding along, and I think in year three we found that we were like, God, did we hear your yes? Did we hear you say? And then after that, we're just like, Lord, we know we heard your yes. We want to see this thing through. We want to see victory after victory, and we want to see people progress and grow in you. And that was our heart. And it began to happen about year three.
That's
Yes.
great. You know, and I've heard over the years that it takes a good 3 years to actually turn the tide. You know, you can't just go in and expect overnight success. I
Right.
mean, sometimes that happens, but more times not. And that stick-to-itiveness, that consistency and that prayer and everything you were saying, for them
Right.
to allow God to do what he wants to do through you and them so they
Right.
know they're safe. Many women who are listening may be experiencing some of the things you're talking about. Sherry, what would you say to encourage them today?
I would say that trusting yourself and knowing and developing a knowing of what God has definitely created you to be. We're uniquely and wonderfully created by our Master. And we are daughters of the Most High King. And when we realize what our identity is in Christ, our giftings, our talents, and what we have to offer of value to the ministry that we're doing at the current time. I'm your daughter. You love me so much. I wasn't created to hide in a corner or wear my feelings on my sleeves or any of these things. I was created to hold my head high in you and know that you are going before me. You have already created the path for me. And you know before I ever know what challenges or what situations I'm going to be faced with. And when I open myself up in that way, God just started forming deeper relationships with the ladies and the congregants that we were pastoring and in the community too, because we were in a very tight-knit community. When we relaxed in Him and we said, God, you have brought us here for a season, for a purpose, and we're just trusting you and sustain us. And so that was a turning point for me, and that I would encourage other ladies to just realize that you're not alone and that you are a daughter of the Most High King and you are loved and cherished, and He will keep you in all grace and love where He's called you.
Sherry, what would you think is important for church members to understand about a pastor's wife?
I would think that church members should understand that we, as pastors' wives, are available. We are also very busy, not so busy that we can't minister where we're called, but like for me at that stage in life, I was busy with children, school, functions, work, trying to be wife, mother, pastor's wife, all of these things. I would say that as much as a pastor's wife or missionary's wife would be considerate of other people's time, that as well we should as leaders and pastors' wives receive that same consideration. I understand there are times where there are emergencies arise, but also knowing that we're available and open, but we also have schedules and calendars to keep and as well. So I think that that's important to realize that we all are living busy lives. We give some, we take some.
I think so too, that we're
Right,
mommies, we're wives, we're workers, we're all those things that they're doing, or maybe they
right,
did do in their younger years,
right,
and to have grace for us and for us to have grace for them. So that's
Right.
good. Sherry, if you could leave one truth about calling and obedience to God that you've learned, what would that be?
I think one truth that I've learned about the calling of God and just to give our yes. The calling of God is a broad subject and people hear the Lord in different ways and I would say I got the most assurance from the Lord about where he was calling me as a pastor's wife, as a leader, is when I said, okay, God, I hear you. I say yes. I may not know all the details. I may not know exactly how it's going to pan out. It's just the yes. And when I put that yes in my heart and I gave that yes to God, he stepped in. He was like, "Okay, daughter, that's what I was waiting for. That's what I wanted to hear because the details come. I've already prepared the way and I'll show you step by step what to do, and I'll help you and I'll guide you." And I think that there was only one time in my life that I dug my heels in when my husband was considering something for ministry, and I dug my heels in and I didn't give my yes, even when I thought that maybe the yes was there, but my heart wasn't in it yet. And so I had to give myself time. And that's okay. That's okay to give ourselves time to think about it and pray about it. Yeah, so I think giving our yes and the Lord will just step in and comfort us and guide us and pave the way for us. So
Thank you for being with us today, Sherry. I appreciate you sharing and just so grateful for you and your ministry. And you guys are now back into missions work again. Is that right?
we are with Africa's Hope.
Thank you for joining us today, sweet woman of God. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And if you want to know every time a new video comes out, hit the bell, and that will notify you every time we have a new interview or if it's me talking or whatever. We just want to be there for you and know that you're not the only one that walks through difficult circumstances. And if you need someone to pray for you, I'm going to leave my email right down below. Feel free to reach out. I will get back with you as quickly as I can, and I will be praying for you, my friend. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. God bless. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching Silently Bleeding, Finding Hope for the Pastor's Wife. I look forward to connecting with you. Feel free to leave me comments down below and make sure and subscribe. If you want to know every time a new video is coming out, hit the bell. I would be so delighted if you would also hit the like button and feel free to share this video with anyone you know that this would encourage. Blessings, my friend.